Okay, I'm gonna make a video about Victor Perez, who was the 17-year-old autistic boy who was shot and killed by police. Most people probably don't know what the hell I'm talking about, but it happened. You heard about it from the gun control community, who obviously hate cops. I mean, very few people hate cops more than gun control advocates. Let's be realistic about that. Okay? Now, I'm gonna go off on a little couple tangents here, tell you a couple examples, blah blah blah. Most people who are mentally ill are not violent. In fact, most people who are mentally ill are more likely to be the victim of a crime rather than the subject of a crime. Because a lot of criminals realize if you're mentally ill and I victimize you, who's going to believe you? Depending on your mental illness, they may not believe you. Tell the police, I raped you, I assaulted you, okay? And then you have people that are on the spectrum, autism, Asperger's, Down syndrome. These people are even less likely to be the victims of crime. In fact, not only that, most people that have autism they look odd, but if you look at guys with autism, most are smarter than you. There are guys with autism that are super geniuses. There are guys with autism that have PhDs. They're very, very smart people. They just look a little odd. Now, this individual was a nonverbal, which means he couldn't speak. He was 17. Now, my professor from psychology, when I was doing my criminal justice associates and bachelor's degrees, I had to take several psychologies. You had to do general psychology in order to get your associates, and then when you go to your bachelor's degree at the university, you had several psychologies and behavioral studies that you could choose from, like pick 2 of these or pick 3 of these. Now, my general psychology professor was 5 years older than me, so she's 30 years old, blonde hair, blue eyes, 5 feet tall, 100 pounds, like a cheerleader. Okay, looks are deceiving. She was extremely intelligent and extremely experienced, and she did mental institutions, suicide assessment. She was doing, I don't know if you want to call her a social worker or a tutor, but she was doing home tutoring for a boy who was, I think, 16 at the time, who, I don't know if he had autism, but he had something wrong with him. He was nonverbal, he couldn't talk either. Now, this boy was twice her size or more. Okay, he's over 6 feet tall. He's over 200 pounds. Now, if you see a pretty girl, you might be like, hello, how are you? Can I buy you a drink? Can I take you to dinner? You might try to speak on her. If you see a pretty girl in a professional setting, she's your tutor, your teacher, your social worker, whoever she is, you may have a boundary and say, I should be doing this. Or maybe you don't have a boundary. He had no such boundaries. Okay? He was attracted to her, and this is the reason I'm telling this story. He was attracted to her physically, and he had no problem grabbing her, fondling her breast. He had no problem grabbing her nipple and squeezing it. And one incident, I don't know if the mother was in the house somewhere else, or if the mother was out of the house and came home just in time. Because I'm telling her, were you ever afraid of being assaulted or raped or murdered by a patient? He goes, yes, this kid. And he told the story. He one time, and he was so smart, he could actually access the porno channels. You know, you have the child locks on the TV. He could actually access the porno channels. He was actually watching porn, this kid. He one time grabbed her, pulled her upstairs to one of the bathrooms, and started ripping her clothes off her body. He had pulled her shirt off, her brow was exposed. The mother had come from somewhere, gotten a wooden spoon, beat him into submission, and he went down inside the couch. She said point blank, I'm done with this assignment. I'm leaving right now, and a guy's coming here to do my job. He cannot be alone with me. He can't be alone with any female. He can't be near a female. He's dangerous. And then she said, I don't know, would he end up in jail? He would be someone's bitch. It would be, and I said, he can't go to jail. This is the year before my internship, but I said, he can't go to jail. Because when you go to court, the judge asks you how you plead. The judge or DA tells you what the charges are, and they want to know if you understand them. And then you tell the judge, I understand the charges against me. I plead guilty, not guilty, reason of insanity, no contest. And then you sit down and shut up, and your lawyer talks for the rest of the trial. He does not understand, even if he writes down not guilty or guilty. He does not comprehend the court, okay? He cannot comprehend this in his mind. So he would be incompetent to stand trial and go to an institution somewhere. And I told her also, if he had done that on the lawn or in a park somewhere, and the police had saw him, they would have shot him and killed him. Guy that big trying to rape you, he would have got killed. Here we are. 18 years later, we're telling you this story. This boy was getting out of control, and his parents or some family members called the police on him. They're having a barbecue, and they call the police and tell the police, this is going on, blah, 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 and the police come over. Now, fair warning, if you call the police on any family member at all, there is a very strong possibility they're getting arrested. If it's a domestic violence situation, they're getting arrested. If it's your so-called child that you can't control, I've heard cases where police would take a bastard kid, handcuff him, put him in the car, leave him there for 10 minutes, and then give him back to his mother. Just scare the shit out of him. And then I've seen incidents where kids were arrested. Be real about that. So if you can't control your kid and the police have to come, whether it's a juvenile facility, a mental check-in hospital, or jail, there's a possibility the police are leaving with your kid. Fair warning there. Even if you tell the dispatcher, my child is autistic, my child is on the spectrum, my child doesn't understand, blah, 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 blah. If they have to come there and they can't control them, they may take them away for a while. They could go to jail, trial, mental institution, group home. Just prepare for that. Fair warning. Now, when the police got there and the media did not say this, I had to look at a bunch of articles in order to find this. I'm like, why would the police just murder some kid? When the police got to the scene, the 17-year-old kid and the 17-year-olds are adult bodies. When you're 17, you stop growing. And like this, my professor's charge, the big sick, okay, that dude was like 16, 17, over 6 feet, over 200 pounds, okay? 16 and 17-year-olds have stopped growing. So they are the size of an adult. Whether God wants them to be my size or twice my size, they are the size of an adult. And when the police got there, he was brandishing a butcher knife. Now, this is the smallest knife in my kitchen. This is the largest knife in my kitchen. I can kill you with both of them if I wanted to. Only this one has a longer reach. Now I'm 5'9". That's my reach. Okay? I think this kid was bigger than me. Now, yes, the police feel bad. But on one hand, they feel bad. On the other hand, they have someone, mother, child, wife. They have someone that loves them and they want to go home at night. And if you put a police officer in a situation where I have to shoot you to get home, a police officer, as horrible as it is on his mind, he would much rather spend the rest of his life feeling bad that he killed you than let you kill him. That's a fact of life. Now, did the police have tasers? I don't know. Did they use a taser? Well, knowing the media, if the police, they used a taser and it didn't stop him, the media would have omitted that. Because all the media is saying is that this little child was murdered by a police officer. They're not saying he was, he was getting out of control, he had a knife. And his family said he had a hard time understanding what's going on. He couldn't comprehend English. He couldn't comprehend verbal stuff because he was nonverbal. Well, you're holding a knife in your hand. A police officer points a gun at you. You think you dropped the knife. And there are people saying they should be put in prison, they should go to, they're murderers. Think about their aspect of it. Do they want to die? A police officer doesn't want to die themselves, and they don't want to let you hurt or kill someone else. And there were several cases where you had autistic boys or boys on the so-called spectrum. Keep in mind, this is very rare. Violence is very rare for these people. Okay? They had certain weapons and shit. Hold on a minute, please. Hold on. Yeah? Hold on one second. Okay, I gotta go now. That's pretty much it for the video. Thank you.